Hiking to Ramsey Peak in the Huachuca Mountains has some interesting challenges, not the least of which is figuring out which route to take to the peak. Some hikers start at Ramsey Canyon Preserve, but this puts you on a time limit based on the preserve's opening days and hours. Hiking up Bear Canyon from the south side or Sunnyside Canyon from the west side removes the time limitation. But Bear and Sunnyside Canyons require long drives on dirt roads that generally aren't suitable for a passenger car. And finally, any route that starts on Fort Huachuca is an issue because crossing their boundary at Gate 2 could get you cited for trespassing and your access pass pulled. With those considerations in mind, I decided to hike up Sunnyside Canyon Trail, driving through Fort Huachuca, then over to State Route 83 towards Parker Canyon Lake, and then along various forest roads. What I hadn't considered, though, is that a heavy rain the night before had turned Forest Road 228 into a mud slick, and I slid along until I turned off as soon as I could into the closest parking in Scotia Canyon. My tires are just caked with mud. I thought about turning around, but I think it'll actually be better on the way back because it is going to dry up over the course of the day, and hopefully the road will be dry enough for me to drive out of here. It was pretty slick with my tires coated with muck. I hiked a half mile over to Sunnyside Canyon. I spent the next 9 hours alternating between enjoying the hike on the one hand and worrying about the road drying out on the other, hoping I wouldn't have to call for an expensive tow out of here at the end of the day. This is yet another trail that started its life as a mining road. In the late 1800s, there was a unique religious community that lived and worked and mined communally in the upper part of the canyon. The mine soon flooded and closed, but a sawmill in the town of Sunnyside hung on for quite a while longer. There's an old well left over from the mining days. I've been a volunteer steward for the Arizona Trail for a couple of years, and the section I'm responsible for, Section 1C, starts 3 miles up the canyon at the Copper Glance Junction and goes 2 miles up to the Crest Trail and then 2 miles south to Bear Saddle. It's the best section of the entire AZT. And no, I'm not biased at all. Since this hike heads in the opposite direction of Bear Saddle, at the Crest Junction you'll head north, passing what may or may not be Pat Scott Peak, depending on what map you look at. I'll leave a link up above to a video that explains the issue. Then, for about a half mile, there's what I always describe as an ongoing pine tree apocalypse that you'll navigate through. And you'll get your first good views of Ramsey Peak in the distance. Eventually, you'll reach Fort Huachuca's Gate 2. Stay on the National Forest side of the fence and use your navigational skills or a GPS track for almost a mile as you hike below the ridgeline along the steep slope. After about 7 miles from where you started, you'll be at Ramsey Peak. Even though the forecast called for clearing skies, the clouds still warned of rain, and I continued to plead for it to hold off. Oh, don't rain, don't rain. I wanted to be done with this bushwhack section of the hike before taking a break. Time to go back and have some lunch. So I headed back to Sunnyside Canyon. pulling off a few forgotten signs along the way from the previous week's summit challenge. And then my final wish for the rain to hold off,
Oh, please do not rain.
was granted. I made it back to my car. Yes, without a drop of rain coming out of these clouds. There was almost 4,000 feet of elevation gain. It was more than 15 miles. I'm done. Just like I had hoped, the road had dried out, and I made it out of Sunnyside Canyon Road without needing a tow. And I'm going to go on record as admitting that getting to Ramsey Peak is a pain in the ass. That said, if you click one of the links at the end of this video, I think you'll find a hike that suits you. And I'll see you on the next hike. Yeah, I don't think there's any snakes down here. The end.